Ronaldo from Madrid to Juventus. You wrote at length yesterday saying that you've heard it all, you're not particularly convinced it will happen, but that may well have changed over the last 24 hours.
Yeah, I mean, look, the reason I was not convinced it was happening is that it's difficult for Juventus, I think, to put together a package where they can get this deal done. Remember, we're talking around about $110 million, 100 million euros in transfer fee, plus the wages to Cristiano would be around about 30 million euros a year net. So it works out to about 60 million euros a year net. So it's about $70 million a season if you're keeping score at home. That's a lot of money. I mean, that's something like 40% of Juventus's entire wage bill last year. So I was skeptical about that. I knew obviously there's a whole issue with Cristiano getting a pay rise. I think that's still in play. But I think the new development now is that I've been told that Cristiano, for him, he's kind of had it with Florentino and with Real Madrid, and he feels ready to go and embark on a new adventure and a new team elsewhere, whether it's Juventus, whether somebody else comes out of the woodwork. He has an affinity for Juventus, apparently going back to nearly join them when he was 18. Obviously, he was quite struck by the fact that after he scored that incredible goal against them in the Champions League last year, he got this standing ovation, and he seems pretty adamant. And they make the point that, look, it's not about money, because the supposed offer from Juventus, which, by the way, to be clear on this, it's not an actual written offer. Juventus haven't actually made a formal offer to him or to Real Madrid at this stage. But the money that we're talking about is the same money that Real Madrid, than the raise rather, that Real Madrid had offered him. So apparently the vibe is that it's not about money, it's about him wanting to move on, him maybe not feeling the love, we've heard this one before, at Real Madrid, feeling that he's really central to the club's plan and what's likely to be a rebuilding season.
We've discussed this, of course, before, Mac, and you said, why would he want to move, from Madrid to Turin? But it seems like he wants to be loved again. And this makes sense. That makes sense, doesn't it, in a sense? Well, because obviously we know what he's like.
Dan, you know Madrid, I know Madrid, the lads know Madrid. He is well loved in Madrid. I mean, he's absolutely adored, feted, whatever you say. He's just won the third Champions League in a row for the team. As much as he was sort of a bit part player for the first time in the final, he's won 5 Champions Leagues. To declare that you're not loved is complete bonkers.
But Florentino could have come out this week and said this is all rubbish. Cristiano Ronaldo.
We've mentioned this. He's probably putting it out there. They might be sick and tired of what Cristiano said. To come out and say what he did right after the Champions League final is uncalled for, isn't it? It's at the wrong point. It's as if you don't care about your team, and you shouldn't say things like that. Whether Juventus can afford, I'm astounded that Juventus can even contemplate on doing a deal like this and pay him the money that he wants, because we were speaking before, me and Stevie, the fact that Buffon's just retired. Of course he has. Chiellini's in his late 30s, Barzagli's in his late 30s. They need to rebuild their team. Then Sami Khedira, we saw at a really disappointing World Cup. There's talk about Higuain leaving. There's talk about Alexandro leaving. If they do leave, they need a hell of a lot of money to start rebuilding their squad so they can be Serie A champions.
Sure.
Throw Cristiano in the mix, and the wages he gets and the baggage he has. It's going to be interesting watching Juventus next year if he does turn up there.
From a footballing point of view, is this a good move for the player, for the club?
I'll tell you what, go to the bookies and check and see what odds Juventus are on winning the Champions League next year. I bet they're way down the list. For all the reasons, never mind Ronaldo, for all the reasons Mark has just brought up, they have to change their team. They've got a lot of holes that need filling with young blood, up-and-coming blood, and that costs money. And if you're going to throw all your money on a guy who's at the wrong end of his career, then, we've been talking about how Juventus have just walked through this Serie A for the last, 6-7 years? They're in danger now of getting caught. And if they shelve the team for the sake of one guy in Ronaldo, I think they're making a big mistake.
Gab, what's the feeling in Turin? Do the Juventus fans want it?
I think the majority of the fans are on board with the idea. And I mean, the point you guys are making about Juventus needing to renew the team, I mean, let's not forget, yes, Sami Khedira will be replaced. They've already signed Emre Can, obviously, to go and replace him. Mattia Caldara is coming in defense, and they have Rugani as well. Those are two very young, very good central defenders. So there's probably less tinkering to be done there. Clearly, you would imagine Higuain would go. One point, though, that I didn't make before, that because there's a lot to say about this, that I should make is certainly the understanding in Madrid is that Real Madrid will basically, they want to put Cristiano in a position where he says, I want to go, and then he says it, and he actually says it publicly. And the reason that's important is Florentino, and by the way, the main issue, when I said with Cristiano not being loved, the issue isn't with Madrid, the Madrid fans, the club. It's, I think, very specifically with Florentino and with Jose Angel Sanchez, who's his money man. It's specifically that. It's not beyond that. It's not the players and whatever else. But Florentino does not want to be remembered as the guy who sold Cristiano Ronaldo, especially if Cristiano goes off and wins another Champions League elsewhere. And by the way, I know you guys love poo-pooing Juventus. They did reach 2 Champions League finals in the last 3-4 years. So, they're not that far away. But certainly, right now it's over whether they can get Cristiano to make a public statement saying he wants to leave. And at that point, I think Florentino's going to be absolved of everything, and he's not going to stand in the way.
This would be my starting 11, because I think he'll pick the same team if everybody's fit. I think he will revert back to type. I've only changed 2 people. I put Danny Rose in for Ashley Young, only because I don't think Ashley Young's done a lot wrong, but I just prefer a left footer on the left hand side of the field. I don't like Ashley Young chopping back onto his right foot all the time, and I think against Sweden you're going to need these type of width and these type of crosses. And I put Loftus-Cheek in there instead of Dele Alli, because I don't think Dele Alli's playing at his best. I don't know whether he's fully fit, and also, as Shaq has just addressed, I think he's a bit stronger, a bit more physical, and I think he'll help out a little bit more. I've still got Lingard and Sterling and Kane there, for a bit of speed and hopefully a bit of creativity. I haven't changed too much.
Would you agree with this, Stevie? Would you make those changes?
Yeah, I think so. I think defensively they're good changes, which I think they have to think about against the Sweden team. The big difference between these two sides for me is one's got an identity, and one we're not quite sure yet still what we're going to get. So, and again, the first question you asked was about the hype. This has got England failing written all over it again, because if England don't beat Sweden, every single person in England will be saying, "Oh, we can't even beat Sweden." So this has got all the hallmarks of a classic England defeat.
You'd sometimes rather than play a better side, wouldn't you, than sort of this.
Why did you smile when you say England defeat?
You know what he's like.
Yeah, I saw that.
Sweden are 2-1 outsiders. England coming in at 5-2. Big favourites. But before we talk about the game, I just want to talk about everything that is kind of happening and snowballing, if you like, in England. You must have experienced a bit of that during Euro 96. As a player, how much are you aware of it, and how much do you have to be careful not to get too carried away with it?
Well, they'll be aware of it, of course they will, because anybody who's associated with the England team, wives, girlfriends, aunties, uncles, they're in the newspapers, which is a joke anyway. How shall they not get carried away with it? Absolutely not. They're miles away from winning the World Cup, absolutely miles away. Yes, they've qualified. They've got this, penalty hoodoo off their backs to a certain extent. And now they're going to have, 3 equally hard games if they are to lift the World Cup. And these games will only intensify in getting more difficult in the level of play. And England do have to improve. We keep on saying it. It's good to bring people back down to earth. They've only beaten Panama, Tunisia, and Colombia, and a poor Colombia on penalties. So we all want them to succeed, but there's still a long, long way to go with better teams to face.
Well, not all of us do. Oh, grumpy pants in the corner there.
Well, I never said that. I never said a word.
Don't want England to succeed?
Steve, if you're Southgate, how much do you play on this and all the euphoria that's going on, and how much you need to dilute it to calm it down?
I get the impression that even before this tournament started, he had everybody on quite an even keel. And I think he'll just be sending the same message game after game. Don't get carried away. And he'll have done something similar after the Belgium game. He'll be saying, look, OK, we've lost the game, but, when we won, we didn't get carried away. Now that we've lost, let's not get carried away either. And you saw against Colombia how they kept their heads, and they actually kept on an even keel. So I think that'll be the easiest job that he has, keeping them on an even keel. The hardest job is going to be getting them to beat the teams that are remaining in this tournament.
And of course, that first team is Sweden, where you know exactly what you're going to get, really. There's going to be no surprises from this side.
No surprises. 2 banks of 4. You've got 2 up front in Toivonen and Berg. They're not going to surprise you with anything, but at the same time, they're very good at what they do. They're going to get numbers forward, Forsberg and Klaassen on the wings, only when they have to. Other than that, they're not going to gamble. They're not exceptional at anything going forward, but they are very good and well disciplined at the back. The other concern for England going into this one is there's a huge height difference between the Swedish team and the English starting 11, or what you expect between the 2 starting 11s. And England have conceded set pieces against Panama, conceded a set piece again later against Colombia. If Sweden are to win this game, that's where you feel they have the advantage. How you match up and how you pair up is the challenge for Gareth Southgate, because again, given the height differences, it's not an easy fix.
Frank, I imagine France was buzzing after that impressive victory against Argentina.
Well, as we all are, you know, it's been a fantastic win, and we are so delighted with the way the team played. However, we know that it's going to be another team. I think better defensively. I think Argentina were pretty poor and opened many spaces, especially for Kylian Mbappe. It's going to be another scenario, I guess, against Uruguay. I think France and the team has to respect that opponent, who's going to be a very hard opponent, even if Cavani doesn't play.
Yeah, big speculation about whether Cavani plays or not. If he does, or even if he doesn't, Stevie, we know what Uruguay are going to provide in this match.
Yeah, but I think the importance Cavani has to Uruguay is huge. You know, basically, if I'm the coach of Uruguay, as long as I've got Suarez and Cavani up front, all I need to really do is make sure that defensively we're organised in the middle of the park and at the back, because you just get them the ball. And the chemistry they have, the connection, I mean, it's as good as a lot of other teams in this World Cup. The fact is, Cavani won't play. I'm 100% sure. You don't recover from a hamstring in that short of space, and that changes the whole game. I mean, who are they going to get up front who's anywhere close to Cavani? Well, the truth is, they don't have anybody. So really, this is going to be a dogged, try and nick something at any possible opportunity against a France team who I think are just going to be too strong.
Just confirm it was his calf, not his hamstring, but a big doubt, obviously, and as Steve said, a big difference.
Yeah, and when you see him leave the field, and he was in distress, wasn't he? He was in a lot of distress, and, you know, as Stevie rightly said, you don't recover that quickly from that type of injury. He'll be lucky to recover for the semi-finals if they get there, but it'll be interesting to see if he replaces him with a centre-forward or whether he just puts another midfielder in there and just defends his way to, you know, to try and get a result of some sort. Defensively, we know they're very, very strong. You know, Godin, Jimenez are great, and they'll do their job. It's just whether the 5 in midfield can be organised and can stop this rampant French team. France will have the majority of the ball. Luis Suarez might be a lone figure. You know, I still expect a French victory.
What sort of game should we expect, Sean?
It'll be a very tight and cagey affair, and I think that's because of the injury of Cavani. I think Stuani comes in. He did that. He came in during qualifiers, and they played a 4-4-1-1, but heavily defensive. Even in a qualifying campaign where they were there or sitting in the top 2 pretty much all campaign. They defend, and you've seen at times during the course of this tournament that this is a Uruguay team who are happy to sit back, who are very patient defensively. I think more than anything, this is a huge opportunity for Luis Suarez. And as much as he didn't have a great domestic campaign, I don't think we've seen the best of Luis Suarez this tournament either. But now with Cavani being out, he's the person that naturally this team turns to for leadership, for direction, and I hope he responds. He certainly has got the talent to respond, though it's not been on show. I just feel that defensively, this Uruguay team are just far too good, far too organised, and at times during the course of this World Cup tournament, this France team has been all over the place themselves. They've improved. But I actually think Uruguay get this job done. A dogged, gritty, scratch your eye out 1-0.
There you go then. Shaka Hislop, Frank, saying that it will be Uruguay advancing, not France. What do you think? Who are you picking?
Yeah, I'm afraid that I'm going to follow Shaka.
Wow.
You know, defensively, Uruguay, and it's been historical. They've always been very, very good. And France, when they played against very tight and narrow lines between the players, have been struggling the whole competition or the whole qualification. So we saw against Australia, it was hard to go through and try to score goals. And when we played the preparation games, it was the same. And Uruguay are very strong. And because Cavani, and I follow Xhaka in that matter as well, because Cavani doesn't play, they're going to be more lower on the field to make sure they can block the power of somebody like Mbappe, and he won't have the spaces like he needs, and therefore it's going to be very hard for him to find the way to maybe have a chance to score. And in the same way, they're going to play counter-attack, Uruguay, and they're going to be patient just to score maybe the one goal, as Xhaka said, to make sure they're going to win. It's going to be hard. You know, we all see France winning, like we saw France struggling against Argentina, and it didn't work. It didn't work that way. And I think we forgot that Uruguay is a very strong team, hard to move and to mess up with.
Looking ahead to Russia against Croatia, the hosts 11-8, Croatia meanwhile 7-4 on. Russia, of course, have exceeded all expectations by getting this far in the tournament. Can they make it to the semi-finals, Stephen?
How many words do you want? Just the one? No. I don't see how they can do.
But they're the away team. Russia with the momentum.
They got the crowd behind them. But listen, on the field of play, you can't come up with a real good, solid reason why Russia are going to beat Croatia. I mean, take away the fact they're at home. After that, there's nothing else. Because Croatia are way better. How Russia beat Spain is beyond me.
Well, that's the thing, though, isn't it? We're all sat here and saying
I
Spain
still don't actually believe that happened. I don't believe it happened. I still don't.
It has to take Croatia playing really, really badly not to win this game. Spain were awful, weren't they?
Yes. Yeah.
I think out of all the quarter-final ties, this is the one which is for me personally, which is a big gap between the two teams.
Right.
And quality in the Croatian side, regardless of the fact that Russia are at home and they've got the crowd behind them. I think Russia's World Cup final was against Spain. They've beat them. They've celebrated wildly. I can't see them beating Croatia if Croatia turn up and play.
For me, the only way Russia win this is by doing exactly as they did against Spain, sitting back and wait for penalties. The trouble is, I just think Croatia far more direct, far too good.
Hello, welcome to Extra Time. Thank you very much for your tweets. Maka, did you have fun making the video for Football's Coming Home? I watched that a couple of days ago.
It's funny, isn't it? Yeah. Did I have fun? Probably not. We were probably told that we had to go down and do it, and it turns up one day.
Who was there? So it was Jamie Carragher, Robbie Fowler.
I can't remember. If you've seen it, you probably know more than me.
But he's been watching it every day.
You did it at the. Had they not just opened that new training place?
We did it at Bisham Abbey, I'm sure. But you know what it's like.
Yeah.
You go down and do it. Right. Oh, you don't want to do it, and then suddenly it turns into this hit song, which
you didn't sing in it. No, you're just doing like Phoenix from the Flames.
Yeah, I think we were just sort of miming it. I think I'm not even particularly sure, to be very honest.
Well, you're
very memorable.
It's a bit underwhelming, all of this.
It seems better now, doesn't it? Because we're still talking about the story, but at the time it was probably a right pain to do.
Did you get weighed in?
No. Yeah, exactly. It was an England thing. We're probably in the hotel and they said, you six go down there and take part in this video. And Colin Cooper.
Colin Cooper.
Yeah. Paul Gazza, no?
No, I don't think Gazza's in it.
I can't even remember. At the time, it probably seemed like a chore.
Aye.
You've done your music videos in your time, haven't you, Stevie?
Some have been great fun in summer when about as boring as it's possible.
What was the most successful one? Which was the
Anfield
The
Wrap.
Anfield Wrap.
The Anfield Wrap? Yeah.
So, by the way, what a day!
Right.
Tell you, actually, you know the thing about that. So we're doing the video, right? So we've got a few ales going as well. Plenty of ales on the side. Every time cut, and we're straight over to the ale again.
Right.
And Rushy was home from Juventus for a couple of days, and he was sat in the corner, and I just remember looking at him, and we could see it written all over his face, going, "Wish I was."
Really?
Come on, Rushy, lad!
Did you do one when Trinidad and Tobago went to the World Cup?
No.
No.
No. A few players did one. I can't remember if it was before or after, but I wasn't.
Right.
No.
Newcastle.
No.
World Cup song when you were there, West Ham. Oh, FA Cup. Sorry.
No.
You know the worst one we did was with Scotland for the.
86? Did you do 86 one?
We did it before the 90,
Right.
and we went to Glasgow, and we go in, and they said to us, right, everyone's all set up, you know, the refreshments, you know, we'll do a bit of that, we'll do it then, and we'll have a cut, and then we'll get all the refreshments, right? And we're all like, yeah. So we do the first bit, and they go, okay, we've got refreshments, we'll go into this room. It's like sandwiches,
It was
cans of
soda.
a cup of tea, or a coffee.
He's still upset now.
I know.
Just like
Disgusted that refreshment.
30 years later.
Are you serious?
Think of us sandwiches.
I've come all the way from Liverpool to Glasgow, 3.5 hours in the train, 3.5 hours back, and you're going to give me a cup of tea and a sandwich? Seriously?
Brilliant.
And we never got weighed in.
No?
No.
Oh dear. But at least you've forgotten about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so, probably. Yeah.
Who's the dirtiest team you ever played against?
Ooh. Wimbledon back in the day wasn't wasn't much fun.
Right.
I don't know.
Because you must have got less protection than maybe you would have. There must have been elbows and everything flying in
I got
your
a few of
face.
them.
What's the elbow, Dan?
That's an elbow. That is officially thrown a few in my time.
He's done like
Stevie?
Uruguay.
Yeah.
86 World Cup. No question. There had to have been a foul every minute and a half
Right.
of that game. It was unreal. Incredible. Uruguay got a guy sent off after 2 minutes. He nearly decapitated Gordon Strachan after 2 minutes. Got sent off. We're like, okay, like it. And the referee proceeded to let them kick the you-know-what out as spit, pool, rain. It was unbelievable. Absolutely incredible.
They were just testing VAR then, yeah? It wasn't being brought in. Marca?
I can't remember as a fully fledged professional. I remember playing against Senegal in like the Toulon Trophy, which was the under-21s, and they were spitting and things like that, which was quite disgusting. And I think they were very ill-disciplined. You know, it was a long time ago, and they couldn't tackle, and the tackles were up here, round by your neck, and a lot like that. But for Liverpool and England in the first team and Madrid, I can't really remember a dirtiest team, a particularly bad game.
If Cristiano leaves Madrid, should Madrid buy Mbappe, Neymar, or Kane?
Only one they could have?
Yes.
Mbappe.
I don't think they'll ever get Harry Kane. Mbappe.
Gab, I forgot Gab's here.
See, have Gab just sitting standing
I'm
on
sorry,
the
Gab. There you are in
Some
Russia.
random
What time is
Russian
it?
street.
I'm sorry, mate. It's 1:30. Would you like to chime in at all with dirtiest team?
Hold on, he might have made a song.
Oh, right. Should we do song? Did you ever make a song, Gab?
No, not a football-related song. No. But by the way, Dan, did you say?
What song did you do?
Come on then. I'm glad
At the very beginning, we'll get this at the very beginning of the segment, which was I think about 45 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Did you ask Macca if Jamie Carragher was part of the football's coming home?
Yeah.
I think you did. I think Jamie Carragher was about what, like 14 years old?
Yeah.
And it was good, but I don't think he was playing for England in 1995.
No, he wasn't.
All right, Cam, I got it wrong. Thanks, good. Right, Barry, right back.
Never mind that. Did he?
I still want to hear what song Gav sang. Trying to put us off.
I was actually paying attention and listening to you guys.
Come on, then.
What song did you sing?
Yeah.
Right. We'll move on. Goalkeeper of the World Cup.
Goalkeeper of the World Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Who's that? Who's that a stand-up tournament?
I don't think a goalkeeper has. Alisson hasn't had much to do, has he, in Brazil?
I can feed. I thought he was coming into the World Cup. I thought, oh, he's well dodgy.
Yeah.
He's actually been really good.
Has he?
Well,
I mean, he had the outstanding showing in the penalties the other day. But I don't know. I can't think of.
Was it a goalkeeper that you're like, ooh.
He didn't have many shots to save, did he?
Who wins the Golden Glove? The one who concedes the least or the best performance?
Best performance. I say that with confidence, so I'm not at all sure.
I'm here to break it.
Courtois hasn't done that much, has he? Hasn't been
nobody's had
outstanding.
No,
Not really.
Gav, did someone just try to kiss you?
Loris.
That was a little bit earlier. It happens all the time. I'm here on the waterfront, here by the Moscow River. There's a lot of clubs and live music in the background, and what can I say? People find somebody talking to a camera absolutely irresistible, as you well know, Dan.
Oh, God, very professional.
I tell you what.
Yeah, very professional there, wasn't he?
Wasn't he?
He's probably heard about your singing career.
Old narky knickers there, giving it all that.
Oh, he's on TV. He can't be kissing someone, can he? Goalkeeper of the World Cup, Gav?
You know who's been good? Is it the Japanese goalkeeper? Japanese goalkeeper?
Yeah, who's that?
I can't remember. He's been
Well, everybody, I kind of feel like everybody's had ups and downs. For the first two games, I thought Ochoa was exceptional, but then he kind of lost himself. I'd still lean Courtois or Alisson, although you guys said Alisson not really been tested.
Courtois like
Yeah, Courtois
4 or 5 goals, isn't he?
Yeah. Alisson's the one, but he's only let one goal in, hasn't he? But he's only had a whole lot to do. No, he's only had 4 shots against him, which doesn't really count for much.
I was going to throw Alisson in myself because when you see him, and some teams have tried to take shots and they're flying all over the place. You can just see him every time it goes 20 yards over. He's like, yeah, right. All the best.
Do you think Sweden would be this far with Zlatan in the team, Gab?
You know what? Logic would say yes, but you talk to the coach, Jan Anderson, you talk to any of the players, and they've really bought into this whole like team unity, lock, stock, and barrel. And I think the sense is that Zlatan would have been a disruption, whether in the dressing room or in the way they play. In fact, another way to look at the Sweden-England game, I don't think that there's any two coaches right now who are as popular in their home countries as we speak. I mean, Gareth Southgate could probably run for office, and so could Jan Anderson.
Any thoughts on Zlatan?
Absolutely.
I don't see this team getting to where they are with Zlatan on it.
Yep, exactly what Gab's just said. He'd be too much influence around the dressing room and around too much baggage. We keep saying other players, don't we?
A team that's so regulated, he would complicate everything.
I think so.
Regulated.
I think so.
That's it. We're done. Quarterfinals tomorrow. It should be beautiful. France, Uruguay, Belgium against Brazil.
Beautiful.
Right.
Oh.